guys, my name is Kelly. I'm the nutrition coach at CrossFit MH in Mint Hill, North Carolina, and I'm recording this series of videos to help our gym members stay committed as we start our holiday challenge, which is actually a maintenance challenge, and the goal is for members to maintain their weight through the holidays. So for those of you who are in the CrossFit community right now, we just finished going through the CrossFit Open, and a lot of our members just ended the 800 gram challenge through Optimize Me Nutrition. So a lot of folks have made some progress on their nutrition and are getting to a place where they're starting to own that and get into a rhythm with what works best for their bodies as far as performance, as well as feeling comfortable with how your body looks as well. So I just wanted to have some kind of incentive in place for members to continue to work to keep up those gains. So there's a little background, and so what I'm doing here is giving some tips on how to maintain throughout the holidays with some of the challenges that come around this time of year. So the first tip I wanted to share is to prepare yourself to say no to unplanned food opportunities. So what is unplanned food? Those of us that work in an office space, or even if you're kind of around family, unplanned food is kind of when, if you think about those scenarios where you have your lunch packed for the day, or if you're a person that weighs and measures or tracks macros, you've kind of planned out what you want to eat for the day, but then suddenly somebody comes by your desk and says, hey, there's free pizza in the break room, or it's Jimmy's birthday, like we've got this cake, do you want a piece of this cake? And now you're in a position where you have to make that choice. Am I gonna kind of stick with my guns and go with this nutrition plan that I've started, or will I opt in for this treat? And not that there's anything wrong with treats, but what I really want to get across here is that the unplanned food and making those decisions, a big part of that is your mindset. And when you are feeling defeated, when you make those choices to eat the pizza or the brownies or whatever's there that you hadn't planned to, then that can kind of lead to that slippery slope where you feel like, oh, well, I've messed up now, so I might as well just eat some more, or continue this week, I'll start back next week, and that can really throw us off of our goals. So instead of that, what I'm suggesting is that we say no to unplanned food. And I know for those of us that live in the South, that is breaking a cardinal rule, because we don't say no, we say yes, and we're polite, and we say thank you. But it is fine to say no thank you to things. And actually, in some ways, there are benefits to saying no. So I'll give you an example. I work in an office, my 9 to 5, and just kind of over time, and this over a period of years, people saw that I was kind of focused on my nutrition. I would bring my lunch in. I would say no if people were going out to eat a lot of times, also because I'm stingy and I don't like to spend money. But what happened is we were in a meeting, right, and someone brought a cake. But before I even had a chance to decide, do I want the cake, do I not want the cake, they said, Kelly probably doesn't want any of this, and just went ahead passing around the pizza to other people. And I was like, this is a milestone. I have said no enough times that I'm kind of off the hook. So if I did want the cake, I could have easily jumped in and said like, no, I'll actually have a piece today. But that took the pressure off, because they were kind of expecting that I was going to make the healthy choice. And so thinking about that as a power thing, because if I have the power to make the choices on what food I want and how I want to fuel my body, but each time there's unplanned food, each time there's the pizza or the donuts, or I walk by the candy bowl, I'm choosing instead to go off of that path, to go off of what I know makes me feel better and perform better, then I'm in essence giving up my power each time I make that decision, because I'm not making the decision. I'm allowing my environment and all of the people that are around me to make that decision for me instead of me making that choice. So there's nothing wrong, of course, with having treats. I think we should all kind of let our hair down and enjoy the holidays to a certain extent. But when that's causing you to feel like you've made bad choices, or feel guilty after you've eaten, or just gotten off track and feel like you're out of control and you're not kind of in that powerful position where you're making those decisions, then that's when I think we need to step back and reclaim that power. So sure, like if you're planning on going to Thanksgiving dinner and you want to have 3 pieces of that cake that your grandma makes that you only get once per year, enjoy that. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty. That's a conscious decision that you've made. But what I would consider, or ask you to consider during the holiday season, is, are there times when you're releasing that power to other people or to your environment when you want to make a certain choice, but these other opportunities are pulling you off track? And so those are the things that I would encourage you to rein in, and just being very mindful of the choices that you're making, and making sure that each time you're indulging in a treat, it's something that you want and something that you decided, not something that you just took because you felt guilty or something like that. There is the possibility of kind of giving a weaker no, like when you're kind of like, not right now, or I'm kind of full today. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The only thing to think about with that is you're gonna have to make that decision again. So if you're kind of giving people a maybe, or you're leaving some ambiguity in your answer, then 9 times out of 10 they're gonna come back around to you and ask again, and then you're still in that choice. So it's kind of like when you're younger and you're dating and you're like, I'm busy this weekend. That means they're gonna ask you again. And then the next weekend you're gonna have to come up with some other excuse, when instead of kind of stringing them along when you have other plans or you don't want to do something, you could just say no thank you. You don't have to be rude about it, but you can just kind of say no thank you, because that's not kind of where you see yourself or where you want to go right now. So again, to kind of recap, unplanned food is anything that is kind of not in the diet that we've chosen, that kind of pops up and we have to make a decision about. I want you guys to be mindful of having your power and exercising your power in deciding, is this something I want, or is this something that I just want because it popped up here unplanned? And to kind of bask in and enjoy the benefits of a strong no, of saying no and realizing, I'm not going to have to answer this question about do I want the cake again, because I've said no. They're not going to come back and ask me again today. And over time, notice if those saying no to those unplanned food opportunities means that you're getting that question less often, so that you're able to save your willpower for the times when you really need it. So that's our first tip in our holiday series. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to share, leave comments if there are other tips that you'd like us to address, or if you have examples of this. And good luck to you all in our Slay the Holidays challenge.